Wonderful good morning to everybody. This is Shinde's Chemistry Mastermind. Welcome to my channel. So I come with this new video and the topic is coordinative compounds. So as every one of you knows that coordinative compounds is a very important topic and expected questions comes from this chapter in NEET exam as well as in IIT examinations. So here in coordinative compounds, the most important theory is Werner's theory. So who has proposed Werner's theory? Alfred Werner proposed Werner's theory. And what is in that Werner's theory? The Werner theory is explaining about the structure of coordinative compounds, their geometry, their structure, their hybridization, and secondary primary valencies, properties, all these we learn in Werner's theory. So before going to know about Werner's theory, we have to know about coordinative compound. What do you mean by coordinative compound? So coordinative compound structure should be framed with only the metal ion. So metal ion is a compulsory atom which can form a coordinative compound. So here now in this example we have cobalt. Cobalt is a metal ion. So cobalt is form various types of compounds. So according to the ligands arrangement, the coordinative compound get the structure or the geometry, proper geometry. So here, so Werner in the year of 1895, he proposed a theory of coordinative compounds. So later that these coordinative compounds are so in thousands, these coordinative compounds are discovered and these compounds are very useful. So based on these, coordinative chemistry is a separate branch of a chemistry, which deals with various coordinative compounds and their uses also. So this is very important chapter in future generation also. So we have to know the basic concept of coordinative compounds. So here in Werner's theory, if you see the highlights of the Werner's theory, so every coordinative compound have a central metal atom. So remember that every coordinative compound should have a central metal atom. So there is a central metal atom should be there. Otherwise, the coordinative compound is not formed. So firstly, in first point, every coordinative compound consists a central metal atom, right? And these central metal atom have two types of valencies. Okay, what do you mean by valencies? In valency bond theory, we generally knows that in outermost electrons, outermost orbitals are participating in bonding. So here also in constitution of this compound, so these metal ion, central metal ion have two types of valencies. So which one? Primary valency is the first one and the secondary valency is the second. Primary and secondary valencies. So here now this primary valency is satisfied with the negative charged ion. Negative charged ion. And it shows the oxidation state of the metal ion. Okay, so here you see in this structure, this is a coordinative compound and the name of this coordinative compound is hexaamino cobalt third chloride. I repeat it, hexaamino cobalt third chloride. So here 6 amino groups are present and here 3 chloride ions are present. So here these 6 amino groups are secondary valency. It is attached to secondary valency. So it's are called ligands. So here if you see the picture of this compound, this is the central metal atom which is called cobalt. So cobalt, the oxidation state is +3. So how can you know the oxidation state is +3? Because here 3 negative ions attached to this cobalt. So here in third point you see primary valency satisfied with negative charged ions. So here the red dotted lines of chlorides, 3 chlorides shows that cobalt have 3 primary valencies Okay, and the oxidation state of the metal ion, it shows oxidation state of metal ion is +3. So here how many ions satisfy the primary valency? It shows the oxidation state of the central metal atom, right? After that, if we move to next one, secondary valency is satisfied with ligand. So secondary valency in this picture is 6 amino groups. So 6 amino groups are ligands. What do you mean by ligands? Ligands are electron donors. So electron donors are called ligands, and these ligands are maybe it's neutral, okay, or negative. Neutral or negative. So based upon the electron, okay, sharing, these ligands are many kinds, right? So here monodent ligand, okay, bident ligand, polydent ligand, ambident ligand, all these types of ligands are there, which is based upon the doning electron donation. So here these ligands, in this picture we have 6 ligands, 6 amino groups attached with metal atom. So here 6 amino groups are the ligands, and it shows coordinating number of the metal atom or metal ion. So 6 ligands are attached with this, okay, metal atom, so that the coordination number of this, okay, compound is 6. So if the coordination number of the ligand is 6, this compound get, okay, octahedral geometry. What is the geometry? Octahedral geometry of shape of this compound. So here we have to understand that every central metal atom have two types of valencies, primary and secondary. Primary valency is, okay, connected with or satisfied with the negative charged ions, which is also shows, okay, the oxidation state of the metal atom or ion. Next, in secondary valency is satisfied with ligands or, okay, electron donors, which may be neutral or, okay, negative, which may be neutral or negative. So these ligands are showing, okay, how many ligands are attached to these, okay, metal atom, right? So it will indicate the coordinative number of these, okay, compound. So here based on this only we can generally know the structure or geometry of the coordinative compound. So this is a very easy example for before you, that hexaamino cobalt third chloride is a coordinative compound. How you can say this is a coordinative compound? Because of this compound contains, okay, a metal atom, a central metal atom. It should be have the proper, okay, oxidation states. So these central metal atom have two types of valencies, primary and secondary. Primary valency is attached with negative ions. Secondary valency is attached with ligands, which are called electron donors. So here primary valency is indicating the oxidation state of the metal ion, and the secondary valency is indicating the coordinative number of the compound. So based upon the coordinating number, the compound geometry is decided whether it is have tetrahedral shape or octahedral shape. So here in this given example, this coordinative compound have, okay, which shape? Octahedral shape. Which shape? Octahedral shape, right? So here based on this we have IUPAC nomenclature also. So many compounds are there. So based on the, okay, their compounds complexity, so we have IUPAC nomenclature. So here the ligands also given a proper name. So we have to follow IUPAC nomenclature also. This is very important topic. You have to remember this, and based on this only, okay, so many expected questions are, okay, they are asking. So here we have to know oxidation state, okay, magnetic properties, okay, geometries and hybridization. So here in these coordinative compounds we have to study IUPAC nomenclature of coordinative compounds, magnetic properties of coordinative compounds, After that, hybridization, magnetic properties, and the isomerism in coordinative compounds. These are the three main aspects. Okay, we have to study well. Afterwards, we go to outermost and innermost compounds. These are also very important. Sometimes the bits are very expected in these topics. So let's see in the next. Okay, friends. Now we discuss about the coordinative compounds, inner orbital complexes and outer orbital complexes. This is also a very important question. In this session only, many expected questions came in previous examinations. So let's see, friends, what is inner orbital complexes and outer orbital complexes. So in coordinative compounds, generally, when we clearly understand the Werner's concept, Werner's theory, we move to next valency bond theory according to the coordinative compounds. In these, we have to know about inner orbital complexes and outer orbital complexes. So what do you mean by inner orbital complexes? So here in coordinative compounds, if we see, if inner d orbital is used in hybridization, so in every coordinative compounds, so here the d orbital is participating. Why? Because here in all the metal ions, the central metal ion, okay, d orbital is used in the hybridization in octahedral complexes. So if you discuss about the octahedral complexes, d orbital is must and should participate in hybridization. So here, so if the d orbital is inner or outer orbital, we have to know about the structures. So based on these, inner orbital complexes are those complexes in which inner d orbital is used in the hybridization, not outer. Inner which is near to the nucleus. Inner d orbital is used in the hybridization, and form the compound which is called inner orbital complexes. Remember it, I repeat it. These coordinative compounds, if the inner d orbital is used in the hybridization, these compounds are called inner orbital complexes. We have the example, hexaamino cobalt third ion. If you see here, now in cobalt the atomic number is 27, 3d7, 4s2. When this cobalt lose 3 electrons, it get positive charge cobalt plus 3 ion. So in this cobalt plus 3 ion, if you see the electrons 3d6, why? Because here in this 1 electron and from s 2 electrons are eliminated. So here then it got positive charge CO plus 3 cobalt ion. So here the remaining electrons are 3d6, 4s0, 4p, 4p0. Now here in the presence of strong field ligand, so generally when this cobalt is central metal, so here the 3 ions are taken 1 electron. So here the remaining 6 ligands are amino groups. What are that? Amino groups. So amino groups are strong field ligands. So in presence of strong field ligands, pairing takes place. Generally here the pairing means here the lone pair of electrons are there. So in presence of this strong field ligand ammonia, how many ammonias are there? 6 ammonias are there. So in presence of strong field ligand, the pairing takes place. It means these electrons are paired up. This electron comes, this electron. So pairing takes place. So here we have 3d6, 4s0, 4p0. So in this 3d, 6 electrons are there, which are 3 pairs, and here remaining d x square y square d z square. This is vacant. So here the inner d orbital is vacant now here. So this one is d2. What we call it? D2. two orbits are there, D2. Okay, here the one s, 4s and 4p. So here D2 sp3 hybridization is there. Why? Because okay, in presence of strong field ligand, okay, pairing takes place. Okay, and due to pairing here, these 3d orbital have two orbits which are empty. So due to these empty orbitals which are involved in the hybridization, and this hybridization is called inner orbital, okay, hybridization, and form inner orbital complexes. Okay, you got it? And if we move to next outer orbital complexes, in these complexes outer d orbital is used. So here how the inner orbital is used, in these inner orbital is not used. Why? Because pairing not take place. So outer orbital is used in the hybridization, so that it is called outer orbital complexes. Okay, if you see the example for this, hexafluorocobalt third ion. What is the example? Hexafluorocobalt third ion. In this hexafluorocobalt third ion, okay, in the presence of weak field ligand. So here the ligand is fluoride. How many fluorides are there? 6 fluorides are there. But these fluorides, these ligands are very weak. So that these, okay, due to in the presence of these fluoride ions, okay, ligands, pairing not take place. Pairing not take place in d orbital. So here these d orbital have lone pair of electrons, and only the outer d orbital is participating in hybridization. So see here in 3d6, okay, here 4 unpaired electrons are there. How many electrons? 4 unpaired electrons are there, and hybridization only takes place in 4s, 4p and 4d. So the hybridization name is sp3d2. Why? Because here 6 fluoride ions are, okay, donating electrons and act as a ligand. So here, so this is called, okay, outer orbital complexes. So in outer orbital complexes only hybridization takes place. So it is called outer orbital complexes. So on by learning this topic, we have to know hybridization of complex compounds as well as magnetic properties of complex compounds. How? So see here in this example, okay, the in presence of strong field ligand, pairing takes place, so that there is no lone pair of electron is present in this ion. There is no lone pair of electron is present in, okay, hexa amino cobalt third ion, so that this is diamagnetic. What is this magnetic character? Diamagnetic. Why it is diamagnetic? Because of in this, okay, inner d orbital, okay, inner d orbital, there is no electrons, empty electrons or unpaired electrons are not there. So due to the pairing only, so it is diamagnetic. It is not a paramagnetic. And the hybridization is D2sp3. So we come to know magnetic property as well as hybridization by this topic. If you move to outer orbital complexes, here the hybridization is when the hybridization takes place in outer orbitals, so that it is sp3d2. It is sp3d2. And here in inner d orbital, okay, there is lone pairs also present. So lone pairs of electrons are present. Due to these lone pairs, the magnetic behavior is paramagnetic. So here this is paramagnetic in nature. Paramagnetic in nature, and this hybridization is sp3d2. So we have complex compounds are two types, okay, in according to the valency bond theory. If the hybridization takes place, okay, by using the inner d orbitals, so it is called, okay, inner orbital complexes, and it can be done, okay, in presence of strong field ligand. And if the weak field ligand is attached with the metal ion, Okay, the pairing is not possible, and further it is used, okay, outermost d orbital for the hybridization and forms outer orbital complexes. So in this topic we come to know hybridization of, okay, complexes as well as magnetic properties of the complexes. So I hope that you understand this topic. Okay, in next videos we come with IUPAC nomenclature and many more important topics. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you very much.